Hey guys, this is solving system of linear inequalities part 2. If you have not watched part 1 yet, it will be very difficult for you to understand this one since in part 1 I gave you a criteria for success to solve this problem. Now, in this particular problem we have again two inequalities, and what I noticed first is that none of these inequalities has y isolated. So in order for me to solve this first, I need to isolate y, and that is what I'm going to do very quickly. So my first inequality is 3x plus 2y is greater than or equal to negative 2. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Let me see. Okay, that's better. And that leaves me with 2y is greater than or equal to negative 2 minus 3x. And now I can divide by 2 on both sides to isolate y. So my first inequality is y is greater than or equal to negative 1 minus 3 over 2x. So the first thing that I'm going to do to graph this inequality is I'm going to plot the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is at a negative 1 on the y-axis. Now I'm going to apply the slope. Because my slope is negative, that means that I can use two of the combinations, which is up, left, or down, right. I covered this in my first video about solving system of equations with inequalities. So I'm going to do that now. The number on the numerator tells me how many units I will go up or down. The number on the denominator tells me the units that I move to the sides. So I'm going to move 3 units up, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Or I can also do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Going down 3, 2 units to the right. So after I plot the slope, I need to draw the correct line. Because I have the greater than or equal to inequality, I'm going to use a solid line. And again, I covered this in my first video. So I'm going to draw a solid line. And lastly, I'm going to shade. Because it says y is greater than, I'm looking for all the values that are greater than y. So in this case, I'm going to shade up because of the greater than or equal to sign. So that's where I'm shading. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing with my second inequality, and I'm going to solve it very quickly. So x plus 2y is less than or equal to 2. Okay. Now I'm going to graph my second inequality. First thing is I plot the y-intercept. In this case, it will be at y equals 1. And my slope is negative 1/2. That means I go up 1 to right, to left. Up 1 to left. Or down 1 to right. I'm sorry, 1 down to right. This will be the point, not this one. That's not a good point. I'm going to use a solid line because of the symbol. And because it says less than, y is less than, I'm going to shade down. Now, the most important part is to know where my solutions will be coming from. In this case, my solutions come from where the shading overlaps. If you can see on the video, the shading overlaps here in this part. So that means at any point that I pick from the shading, the overlapped shading, that point will be part of the solution. A solution means that that point will make both inequalities true. So in this example, I can pick 2 comma negative 2 as one of the points for my solutions because it falls under the overlap, where the shading is overlapped, okay? And I can check simply by plugging in 3 times 2 plus 2 times negative 2. Is that greater than or equal to negative 2? Well, this is 6 minus 4 greater than or equal to negative 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 2 is in fact greater than negative 2, so it works. And I'm going to check for my second inequality, which will be 2 plus 2 times negative 2. Is that less than 2? This is 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 is less than 2, so it works for both. Therefore, 2 comma negative 2 is inside my solution set.